Listen up, sweethearts. I want to meet you, and I want you to meet him. He's the man. He's Mark Ridgeway. He's got some crazy ideas. He wants to save the primary school. He wants to stop Kyneton from becoming Bendigo. He also wants to build the Eiffel Tower. Alright, maybe he doesn't, but he did like my idea of Kyneton being the Paris of the Macedon Ranges. So without further ado, let's go straight to see the guy. Welcome to Macedon Ranges Voice. We are, of course, excited to get everybody on, but particularly you. You're in the West. It's going to be a hard competition.
Yeah, we've got quite a few people standing. It's a bit of a Melbourne Cup field.
Yeah, well, I don't know who's going to take the flag. I think it might be the underdog. We're sort of looking for something to come and grab us from behind. So you've stood. Does everyone in Kyneton know you?
I'd like to think that everybody in Kyneton knows me, but unfortunately these days I go down the street, there's an awful lot of people I don't recognise anymore. I'm a Rotarian and I've been in Rotary for many years, and a lot of the blokes and women and blokes who are in Rotary have lived in Kyneton their entire lives. And there was a time that any of them would have gone down the street and there would have been not a person in the street that they didn't know. And yet now I bump into some of them down the street and I look around and I go, do you know anybody around here? And I look around and I go, I know you. So that's about what it is. Kyneton has grown and we've got a new influx of people in, which has been really good. So a lot of young families have moved into the town. It's been terrific.
So Mark Ridgeway, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
For people that don't know you, and let's call them the 90%. So we want to know, first up, a little bit about your history, and then also why are you standing?
Okay, history. Look, I've been a teacher and a principal in the school in the district for about the last 35 years or so. I was teaching at Kyneton Secondary College for a long time. Then I went to Braemar. I was at Braemar for about 5 or 6 years. Went down to Gisborne, went across to Wallen, and then came back and I've finished my career as principal at Kyneton Secondary. So I know a lot of parents, I know a lot of former students who are now parents themselves. In fact, when I went back to Kyneton as principal, suddenly I was bumping into all of these students whose parents I had actually taught. And sometimes it gets a little bit, sometimes that's a little bit sobering too, you're just sort of doing that. I remember when I first started at the school, actually, there was a teacher there who'd pretty much been there her entire life and actually been a student there as well. And if you had a problem with a student, you go and see her and you go and say, Joan, look, I'm having a problem with so-and-so. And she'd say, are they doing this, this and this? And you go, yep. And she'd go, look, father was like that, and come to think of it, so was their grandfather. And when I went back to the school, I sort of started to feel that I was in the same position a little bit.
Like a good politician, you've gone right off track.
Yeah.
That's great, though. I love that story. Hey, but why are you standing now?
Why am I standing? Look, it's time to put my money where my mouth is. I retired 3 years ago. I've been reading the local paper ever since. And
that'll ruin you.
Yeah, having a look at what's been going on. I've got to stop yelling at walls and actually come and start talking to people, I think.
So Mark Ridgeway has got skin in the game, shall we say, or wants skin in the game.
Yeah. There's a couple of local issues which have been on the boiler for the last couple of years, which I'm very interested in. One of those is the old Kyneton Primary School. Yep. I was involved heavily in the group, which has fought very hard to keep that in public hands. We're still waiting an announcement as to who's going to be responsible for the site. I'm no longer directly engaged with that group, but I still have a fair bit to do with them. And I think that there's, and whoever gets it, I think that there's a strong role for council in supporting and basically enabling that site to be used really, really well. And so for me, that's something I'd like to be involved in, from a council point of view. I'm also really concerned about the future development of our entire shire, but probably at the Kyneton end in particular. In West Ward, if you look at West Ward and the projected development over the next 30 years or so, Wood End has been basically locked off now, and they're looking more at infill within the township. So we're not looking necessarily at Woodend actually growing physically as a town, but there is still plans in place or plans afoot to actually grow Kyneton as a township outside its existing borders. Now the plans are there; they're in place. I really want to be part of the process that actually looks at how that's going to be managed in the immediate future and set that direction.
One of the things you mention in your statement is that you're thinking about the identity, and I think that's really interesting. You being a sort of a long time resident and someone who's worked in Kyneton as well, which means you've got deep roots, shall we say. And we've got all these, a lot of new people in the entire Macedon Ranges, of course. And so you're, I just wonder how you see it. I'll bore you with my anecdote, which is that I see Kyneton as the Paris of the Macedon Ranges.
The Paris end of Macedon? Oh, I like that. I like that term, yeah.
It's kind of catchy, isn't it, right? Yeah. Because it's sort of, it's got a bit of culture and you can cruise down it.
We're not as flat as Paris, though.
Yeah. Well, so Gisborne would be, in my mind, at least the New York of the Macedon Ranges, where it's serious, hard-edged business and so on. So, in your vision, because how do you think you can actually implement my vision, which is to keep the character of Kyneton?
To have an Eiffel Tower, we could. Stick one on top of the water tank.
It could definitely on the water tank. Definitely. Okay, well that could work. Right. So, but perhaps you want to add something of your own into what, because you're wanting to get onto council, and you're wanting to drive that vision of what it's going to be. And so, what is your vision for Kyneton, let me do the maths, 2050, let's say?
Look, I think it's in any sort of proposals around our towns, we've got to look at what really works for us now, and we've really got to look at what's going to impact or affect or change the communities of our town, because I know one of the things which has really kept me in Kyneton all of these years has been the strength of the local community. And even though our town has changed and there's been a lot more different people coming in, we've gone from being a service town for the local area to becoming a commuter town, feeding people down to Melbourne, big time. We've still managed to maintain that really strong sense of community in the town, where people know each other, they look out for each other, they support each other, they get involved in local groups and projects. Basically, which better the local community and do a lot around the place.
Now let's get down to answering my question.
Yeah, I am. I'm getting there. I want something which is going to keep that community going.
Keep that community going.
And the other obvious thing too is the amenity of the area and the local environment within the area. Whatever it is that we do. Really needs to focus on trying to keep core aspects of those things, which I think is why people actually move to and stay in the area in the first place. So Kyneton itself, as a township, I think has capacity to grow. I think it has capacity to take in more people. There's still a lot of capacity to actually infill the town. There's still a lot of undeveloped land and so forth within the existing town boundaries. And I think there's a strong capacity for putting for people moving into those areas. There may also be opportunities for some higher density housing within the actual immediate centre, the shopping centre of the town. And I know that proposal is down in Gisborne at the moment. There are a number of people who don't really like it, but I think that is something that you can do. And there is certainly also a possibility to expand beyond the town boundaries, but that's where we need to step very, very carefully. And I would not like to see a proposal that was put forward about 30 years ago for Kyneton by the old Kyneton Shire, which actually saw Kyneton having a population in 40 years' time, which would be 10 years from now, around about the size of what Bendigo was then. So, I don't want that uncontrolled growth happening. And that's what we're really trying, that's what I'm really, looking out for.
Mark Ridgeway, thank you very much for talking to us today. That was really fantastic. I think I've got your vision. I will send you my plans for the Eiffel Tower.
Okay.
And I'm not quite sure where. Piper Street? I don't know, maybe. Well, we'll think about it. Look, and hopefully...
There is an arts, an outdoor arts sculpture area down near Doyley's gazebo down the bottom there.
Okay, I've got to shut you up now. That's just going too far. Thank you very much, Mark Ridgeway, and goodbye. Thank you for watching that candidate profile. I hope to bring you many more very soon. If you are a candidate, make sure you contact the Macedon Ranges Voice. And if you're interested, please join the group and like the videos and share our posts. We're trying to bring as many people into the discussion as possible and as many people to find out as much as they can about this election, which is going to be a crucial one for the Macedon Ranges. So see you out there with your masks on and wait for the next video. It's coming real soon.